doing his highness to make himself interesting to that old faggot, Mrs. Reardon, that he thought had a great leg of her, and she never left us off farther, now going for masses for herself and her soul. Greatest miser ever was. She had too much out chatting her about politics and earthquakes and the end of the world. Let us have a bit of fun first. God help the world if all the women in it were her sort, down on bathing suits and low necks that nobody would want her to wear. I suppose she was pious because no man would look at her twice. Still, I like that in him, polite to old women like that, and waiters and beggars too. Yes, he came somewhere, I'm sure, by his appetite. Anyway, love it's not, or he'd be off his feet thinking of her. So either it was one of those Unite women, if it was down there he was really, and the hotel story he made up a pack of lies to hide it, planning it, or else if it's not that, it's some little bitch or other he got in with somewhere or picked up on the sly. Not that I care two straws who he does it with, though I'd like to find out, as long as I don't have to have the two of them under my nose all the time, like that slut, that Mary had in Ontario Terrace. I wouldn't know her myself to spy on them. The garters I found in her room the Friday she was out, that was enough for me, a little bit too much. Her face swelled up on her with temper when I gave her week's notice. Better do without them altogether. Do out the rooms myself quicker, only for the damn cooking and throwing out the dirt. I gave it to him anyhow. Either she or me leaves the house. I couldn't even touch him if I thought he was with a dirty, bare-faced liar and sloven like that one. Denying it up to my face and singing about the place in the WC too. I suppose it was meeting Josie Powell and the funeral and thinking about me and Boylan set him off. Well, he can think what he likes now, if that'll do him any good. Supposing he got in with her again and was going out to see her somewhere. She, of course, would be only too delighted to imagine she was mad in love with him. That I wouldn't so much mind. I'd just go to her and ask her, do you love him? And look her square in the eyes. She couldn't fool me. But he might imagine he was, and make a declaration in his plabbery kind of a manner to her, the way he did to me. Though I did his own job to get it out of him, though I liked him for that. He truly could hold in and wasn't to be got for the asking. I wonder what she's got like, living with that dirty husband of hers. I'd rather die 20 times over than marry another of their sex. Yes, and he knows that too, at the bottom of his heart. Take that Mrs. Maybrick poisoned her husband. For what, I wonder? In love with some other man, though it was found out on her. Wasn't she the downright devil to go and do a thing like that? Of course, some men can be dreadfully aggravating, drive you mad. They're all so different. Boylan, talking about the shape of my foot. And Bartel Darcy, too, that he used to make fun of when he commenced kissing me under the choir stairs after I sang Gounod's Ave Maria. He was pretty hot for all his tinny voice, too. My low notes, he was always raving about, if you can believe it. Then he said, wasn't it terrible to do that there in a place like that? I don't see anything so terrible about it. I'll tell him about that someday, not now, and surprise him and I'll take him there, and I'll show him the very place, too, we did it. So now, there you are. Like it or lump it. He thinks nothing can happen without him knowing. Then, writing a letter every morning, sometimes twice a day. He knew the way to take a woman when he sent me the 8 poppies, because mine was the 8th. Then I wrote the night he kissed my heart at Dolphin's Barn. I couldn't describe it. Simply, it makes you feel like nothing on earth. But he never knew how to embrace well like Gardner. I hope Boylan will come on Monday at the same time, 4. I hate people who come at all hours, answer the door and you think it's vegetables, and you all undressed, or the door to the filthy, sloppy kitchen blows open. Or to go to be to the great God I've got somebody to give me what I badly wanted, to put some heart up into me. You've no chances at all in this place like you used long ago. I wish somebody would write me a love letter. His wasn't much, and I told him he could write what he liked. Yours ever, Hugh Boylan. Mulvey's was the first. An admirer, he signed it. I near jumped out of my skin. I never thought he'd write. Making an appointment. I had it inside my petticoat bodice all day, reading it up in every hole and corner while Father was up the drill. Singing, I remember, shall I wear a white rose? He was the first man kissed me out of the Moorish war. My sweetheart. What did I tell him? I was engaged for fun to the son of a Spanish nobleman named Don Miguel de la Flora. And he believed that I was to be married in 3 years' time. There's many a true word spoken in jest. Oh, I tortured the life out of him. Molly darling, he called me. What was his name? Jack. Harry Molly was, yes, I think. He was rather fair, Lieutenant. Had a laughing kind of a voice. Lord, it's just like yesterday to me. He went to India, he was to write. Oh, the voyages those men have to go on to the ends of the world and back. It's the least they could get a squeeze or two at a woman before they have to go off somewhere to be drowned or blown up somewhere. That train again, weeping for him. Once in the dear dead days beyond recall, when on the world the mist, I hate that, east thing, comes walls of so. I let that out full when I get in front of the footlights again. Kathleen Kearney and her lot of squealers, miss this, miss that, miss the other. Lot of sparrow farts skipping around talking about politics they know as much about as my backside. Anything in the world to make themselves some way interesting. Irish homemade beauties. Soldier's daughter, I am I. And whose are you? Bootmakers and publicans. They'd die down, dead off their feet, if ever they got the chance of walking down the alley on an officer's arm like me on the band night. They haven't passion, God help their poor head. I knew more about men and life when I was 15 than they'll all know at 50. Let them get a husband first, that's fit to be looked at, or a daughter like mine, or see if they can excite, swell with money. Can pick and choose who he pleases, like Boylan, to do it 4 or 5 times, locked in each other's arms. Or the voice, either. I could have been a prima donna, only I married him. Well, goodbye to my sleep this night, anyhow. Coming in at 4 in the morning, it must be, if not more. Still even manners not to wake me. What do they find to gabber about all night? Squandering money and getting drunker and drunker? Couldn't they drink water? Then he comes home and starts giving us his orders for eggs and tea and Fingdon Hattie and hot buttered toast. I suppose we'll have him sitting up like the king of the country, pumping the wrong end of the spoon up and down in his egg wherever he learned that from. I don't like being alone here in this big barracks of a place at night. I suppose I'll have to put up with it. Not that he'd be much use. The night I was sure I heard burglars down in the kitchen, and he went down in his shirt with a candle and a poker, as if he was looking for a mouse, white as a sheet, frightened out of his wits, making as much noise as he possibly could for the burglar's benefit. There isn't much to steal indeed, the Lord knows. Still, it's the feeling, especially now with Millie away. I want to get up a minute and tell him that. Wait. Oh, Jesus, wait. Yes, that thing has come on me. God knows there's always something wrong with this. 5 days every 3 or 4 weeks, the usual monthly option. Isn't it simply sickening? Anyhow, it didn't make me pregnant. I'm going to ruin the clean sheets. And they always want to see a stain on the bed to make sure you're a virgin for them. They're such fools, too. You could be a widow or divorced 40 times over. A dog with red ink would do. Shame on this damned old bed, too. Shingling like that Dickens. Oh. Where's the chamber gone? Oh. Enemy, mad, crazy letters. My precious one, everything connected with your glorious body, everything underlined that comes from it is a thing of beauty and a joy forever. Suddenly got us out of some nonsensical book. Oh. Well, I suppose there isn't in all of creation another man with the habits he had. Look the way he's sleeping at the foot of the bed. It's as well he doesn't kick or he might knock out all my teeth. He's sleeping hard. Had a good time somewhere. Still, she must have given him great value for his money. Of course, he has to pay for it from her. Wait, that's Joyce's church bell. Wait. 2 o'clock. Well, that's a nice hour of the night coming home at. I'll knock him off that little habit tomorrow. This is the fruits of Mr. Paddy Dignam. They were all in great style at the grand funeral. El Bloom and Tom Kiernan, that drunken little barley man, bit his tongue off, fallen down the men's WC in some place or other. Martin Cunningham and the 2 Devilises and Fanny McCoy's husband. See it all now plainly, and they call that friendship, killing and then burying one another. And they all with their wives and families at home. They're a nice lot, all of them. Well, they're not going to get my husband again into their clutches if I can help it. Making fun of him then behind his back. I know well when he goes on with his idiotics. Because he has sense enough not to squander every penny piece he earns down their gullets and looks after his wife and family. Good for nothings. Poor Paddy Dignam all the same. Simon Dedalus, too. He was always turning up half screwed. Singing the second verse first. He was always on for Flirtifying, too, when I sang Maris Hannon with him in Freddie Meyer's private opera. He had a delicious, glorious voice. Of course, he had the gift of a voice, so there was no art in it. He was married at the time to May Goulding. He's a widower now. I wonder what sort is his son. He says he's an author and going to be a university professor of Italian, and I'm to take lessons. What's he driving at now? Showing him my photo. Not good of me. I ought to have got it taken in drapery. That never looks out of fashion. Still, I look young in it. I'm not too old for him. He's 23 or 24. I hope he's not that stuck-up university student sort. No, otherwise he wouldn't go sitting down in the old kitchen taking Eps's cocoa with him. They all write about some woman in their poetry. Well, I suppose you won't find many like me. Oh, but what am I going to do about him, though? No, that's no way for him. He has no manners, nor refinement, nor nothing in his nature, slapping us behind like that on my bottom because I didn't call him Hugh. The ignoramus that doesn't know poetry from a cabbage. That's what you get for not keeping them in their proper place. Men again, all over. They can pick and choose what they please. No, but we're to be always chained up. Well, they're not going to be chaining me up, no damn fear. Once I start, I tell you, for stupid husband's jealousy. Why can't we all remain friends over it instead of quarreling? What else were we given all these desires for, I'd like to know? It's a wonder I'm not a shriveled old hag living with him. So cold, never embracing me, except sometimes when he's asleep. The wrong end of me. Any man that'd kiss a woman's bottom, I'd throw my hat at him. After that, he'd kiss anything unnatural. We have not one atom of any kind of sense in us, each of us the same 2 lumps of lard. Before ever I do that, like me. Still, of course, a woman wants to be embraced 20 times a day almost to make her look young, so long as to be in love or loved by somebody. I'll move over your big carcass out of that. I love a Mike. And I'm to be slooching around down in the kitchen to get his lordship his breakfast. Will I indeed? Do you ever see me running? I just like to see myself out. Show them attention and treat you like dirt. I don't care what anybody says. It'd be much better for the world to be governed by the women in it. Nobody see women going around and killing one another and slaughtering. When did you ever see women rolling around drunk like they do, squandering every penny they earn and losing it on horses? Yes, because a woman, whatever she does, knows where to stop. Sure, they wouldn't live in the world at all, only for us. They don't know what it is to be a woman and a mother. How could they? Where would they other than be if they hadn't a mother to look after them? What I never had. I suppose that's why he's roaming around, wild now, not living at home, away from his books and studies. It's a poor case that those that have a fine son like that, they're not satisfied. And I none. Oh, I'm not going to think myself into the grooves about that anymore. I wonder why he wouldn't stay the night, instead of roving around the city, meeting God knows who, night walkers and pickpockets. His poor mother wouldn't like that if she was alive. Ruining himself for life, perhaps. Still, it's a lovely hour, so silent. I used to love walking home after dances, the hour of the night. Daedalus. I wonder it's like those names in Gibraltar. Delapaz, Delacracia. They had the devil's queer names there, and Pisimbo, and Mrs. O'Piso in Governor Street. Oh, what a name! If I had a name like her, I'd go and drown myself in the Persian River. I declare to God, I don't feel a day older than then. What a pity he wouldn't stay the night. I'm sure the poor fellow was dead tired and wanted a good sleep badly. I'd love to have a long talk with an intelligent, well-educated person. I'll just give him one more chance. I get up early in the morning. I'm sick of Cohen's old bed in any case. I might go over to the markets. Then I'll throw him up his eggs and tea. I know what I'll do. I'll go about rather gay, not too much singing, a bit now and then. Then I'll start dressing myself to go out. I'll put on my best shifting drawers. Let him have a good eye full out of that to make his Mickey stand for him. I've a mind to tell him every scrap. Serve him right. It's all his own fault if I am an adulteress. That's all the harm we ever did in this vale of tears. God knows it's not much. Doesn't everyone? Only they hide it. Oh, but I was forgetting this bloody pest of a thing. No, I have to wear the old thing. So much the better. Be more pointed. There, that's good enough for you. Then I go out. Have him eyeing up the ceiling. Where's she gone now? Make him want me. That's only way. A quarter after. What an unearthly hour. Let me see if I can doze off again. Better lower this lamp and try again so I can get up early. I'll go and get them to send us some flowers so I can put about the place in case he brings him over tomorrow. I love flowers. I'd love to have the whole place swimming in roses. God of heaven, there's nothing like nature. The wild mountains, then the sea and the waves rushing, and and the beautiful country with fields of oats and wheat and all sorts of things, and all the fine cattle going about. That'd do your heart good to see rivers and lakes and flowers, all sorts of shapes and smells and colours, springing up even out of the ditches. Primroses and violets of nature it is. As for them saying there's no God, I wouldn't give a snap of my 2 fingers for all their learning. Why don't they go and create something? I often ask them, atheists or whatever they call themselves. Go and wash the cobbles off themselves first, then they go howling for the priest and they die. And why? Why? Because they're afraid of hell on account of their bad conscience. Ah, yes, I know them well. Who was the first person in the universe before there was anybody that made it all? Who? Huh, that they don't know. Neither do I, so there you are. They might as well try to stop the sun from rising tomorrow. The sun shines for you, he said, the day we were lying among the rhododendrons on holiday, in the grey tweed suit and his straw hat, the day I got him to propose to me. Yes. First I gave him the bit of seed cake out of my mouth, and it was leap year. Yes, 16 years ago, my God. After that long kiss, I near lost my breath. Yes, he said, I was a flower of the mountain. Yes, so we are. Flowers all of woman's body. Yes, that was one true thing he said in his life. And the sun shines for you today. Yes, that's why I liked it, because I saw he understood or felt what a woman is. And I knew I could always get around him. And I gave him all the pleasure I could, leave me alone, until he asked me to say yes. And I wouldn't answer first. When he looked out over the sea and the sky, I was thinking of so many things he didn't know of. Mulvey, and Mr. Stanhope, and Hester, and Father, and old Captain Groves, and the sailors playing All Birds Fly, and I Say Stoop, and washing up dishes they called it on the pier, and the sentry in front of the governor's house with the thing round his helmet, poor devil half roasted, and the Spanish girls laughing in their shawls and their tall combs, and the auctions in the morning, the Greeks and the Jews and the Arabs and the devil knows who else from all the ends of Europe and Duke Street, and the fowl market all clucking outside Larrabee Sharon's, and the poor donkeys slipping half asleep, and the vague fellas in the cloaks asleep in the shade on the stairs, and the big wheels of the carts of the bulls, and the old castle, yes, thousands of years old, yes, and those handsome Moors, all in white and turbans like kings, asking you to sit down in their little bit of a shop and rondo with the old windows of Versailles, glancing eyes, a lattice head for her lover to kiss, the iron in the wine shops half open at night, and the castanets, and the night we missed the boat at Algeciras, the watchman going about serene with his lamp. Oh, and that awful deep down torrent. Oh, and the sea crimson sometimes like fire, and the glorious sunsets, and the fig trees and the Alameda Gardens, yes, and all the queer little streets and pink and blue and yellow houses, and the rose gardens, and the jessamine, and geraniums and cactuses, and Gibraltar. As a girl, where I was, a flower of the mountain. Yes, and how he kissed me under the Moorish wall. And I thought, well, as well him as another. And then I asked him with my eyes to ask him to me so he could feel my breasts all perfume, yes. And then he asked me to